Welcome to Garden Plants with Jim Putnam. Let's talk Snowbank Indian Hawthorne. So this is Snowbank Indian Hawthorne, or Clean Sweep Snowbank Indian Hawthorne. This is a Southern Living Plant Collection introduction. This is an evergreen, low-mounding shrub with really great dark green foliage. The new foliage on it will have a reddish tinge and kind of a lighter green color on it. Great, again, low, dense mounding habit. The main appeal to this dwarf Indian Hawthorne is its disease resistance. That's why it was introduced. This one we planted maybe 6 months ago in this spot, and it's incredibly clean. Like normally when I'm looking at dwarf Indian Hawthorns, you're looking at little spotting on the leaf, and this one is just, it's amazing. I'm definitely sold on this plant. I'm really excited to talk about these in this video and future videos, because I think it's going to be a really exciting addition to be able to reintroduce very disease resistant dwarf Indian Hawthorns back into our landscapes. So Snowbank will reach between 2 to 3 feet in height and 3 to 4 feet in width, something like that. Moderate growth rate. It's not in a hurry. This one it's grown a little bit since it was planted 3 or 4 months ago, but not a whole lot. They get fragrant white flowers in the spring in clusters and very, very showy at that time. And then if it's not pruned after that during the season, they will get a blackberry in the place of where those flowers were. Timing in the spring, a little later than the super early flowering things, but somewhere mid-spring when it does that. And as soon as it finishes flowering, that new growth comes out on it, and it has a bit of a reddish tinge to it. It really looks great through that peak growing season in May and June. Snowbank is hardy in zone 7 to 10. I will tell you that in zone 7, we get the occasional winter that can harm these. And so when I'm thinking about planting an Indian Hawthorne in zone 7, I want it in a protected space. They do need full sun. They really thrive. The more sun, the better. And so it needs that full sun, but it would also, again, wouldn't want to be out in the winter wind, in the worst winters. We only get a winter about every 10 years that will harm these, but it happens. And so this one has been planted in a low, kind of sunken area here, but it's in a spot that's going to get plenty of sun. These are very salt tolerant, and this one was used in this space because there's a male dog living here, and these rosemary and this Indian Hawthorne will tolerate urine without any problem. So this was a great coastal plant as well. We're going to use a plant, a little low doming evergreen that blooms in the spring and looks like this year round. Well, I mean, there's lots of uses for it. Obviously, any place below low windows on a foundation. Looks great mass planted. This is a great plant on a slope. If you have a tricky slope, this is a great plant for that. You can use this to give you some height on the bank, and then maybe use some junipers or a low growing rosemary like we've done here in that combination. So as a one-off, or in a big group, or as a low growing foundation plant, or a low hedging plant, if you have a patio area and you want something that doesn't get more than 2 or 3 feet but stays kind of boxwood-like, great choice. A lot of these plants I cover, I talk a long time about planting and maintenance. There's not much to say on this plant. As long as you pick a sunny spot that's well drained, not a plant that wants to sit in water for sure. As long as you pick a spot like that, it kind of doesn't matter. It's tolerant of a lot of different soils, so clay or sand. If you're planting it in clay, you might want to mound it up just a bit. I've shown that in many videos on the Hort Tube with Jim Putnam channel. And that's kind of it. I mean, you can fertilize it in the late winter, early spring. I usually use an organic fertilizer. It's not a fertilizer hog by any stretch of the imagination. Keep the weeds away from it. Keep it well mulched to keep the roots cool on it. And then again, it's in the sun. Rarely ever going to need to be pruned. It might get a crazy limb on it somewhere that can be pruned off whenever, but it grows like this without doing any pruning on it. If you needed to reduce the size of it, you might want to do that right after it flowers in the spring, so that you still enjoy the flowers. Incredibly drought tolerant, incredibly tolerant of just tough conditions, coastal conditions, any place in zone 7 to 10 that you want to put it in the sun. So This is a clean sweep snowbank from the Southern Living Plant Collection. Thanks for watching.